Counseling Solutions hello, welcome to Counseling Solutions Podcast of the Day. My name is Tiffany Herndon.
I am Catherine.
And I'm Kendrick Hughes.
And we're going to be here to learn more about Kendrick Hughes and what he's doing with Voices. Can you explain Voices, the nonprofit, to us a little bit?
Voices, it stands for Victory Over Immense Challenges Equals Success. It's a nonprofit organization that I put in place in May of this year for troubled youth. So my goal is to be somewhat of an outreach program for them to, steer them in the right direction. Whether they're having trouble at home or at school, we want to be able to provide counseling for them, tutoring for those that need it. And then on the other side of that, we want to be able to teach them things that they don't learn in school. Things like financial literacy. We want to be able to teach them trades. So that way they have alternative options and know that there's alternative options for them versus path that they're going on.
Oh, wow. So is there a story behind why you decided to start
Well,
this
I
program?
have two boys of my own, 8 and 2, and I'm trying to do my best to be the best father that I can to raise them up to be respectful young men. And just, seeing social media and watching the news and seeing all the stuff that's going on with our youth, with the lack of respect and the violence that we see, I just felt, compelled to do something to help the situation. You have a lot of people that talk about what needs to happen and what they want to see differently, but nobody makes the move to make it happen. So I'm doing my part because I feel that this is what, God has called me to do. So I'm trying to do my best to do that.
Awesome.
It sounds like there's numerous different avenues of approach between the mentoring, teaching what's not taught in schools. What are the different resources that you're pooling together to make more of a community, more of a holistic approach?
With meetings, networking, I've met probably 200 people in the past 2 months. And I've met, people from teachers, to counselors, to people that are in the IT industry that want to get involved. I have athletes that want to get involved. And I think what sets this organization apart from others is it's not athletic geared. A lot of these organizations are geared towards athletic. Not everybody's athletic.
Right.
Not everybody has an interest in sports. So I want to do the other side of it and offer, different type of services, to where they can learn stuff in the process.
That sounds awesome. I am definitely interested in helping out because that is an avenue that I have been looking at, especially with the military community and it being military affiliated. There's a bunch of families that are left out from that and they don't get those resources and it's just generational stuck on this lower socioeconomic status, and it leads to a lot of
Yes, and that's primarily the main reason how I came up with Voices. A lot of our youth don't have one. And once I discovered what I wanted to call the organization, I wanted to take it a step further and I wanted meaning behind it. So that's when I came up with the acronym. And I think that once they overcome whatever challenges that they have in life, whether it's at home or whether it's at school or with their peers, once they overcome those, I think they can be, successful.
Yeah. How does this dovetail with the juvenile system, but not in the sense of getting in trouble, but how does it dovetail with teaching the resources with the purpose of avoiding the juvenile system and any relationship to the system?
Well, what I would like to do is hold classes probably once a month, depending on the type of response that we get, will determine the frequency of these particular classes.
Yeah.
So like for month 1, we can do financial literacy, and we'll gear it towards, we'll have it age appropriate. And then the following month, we'll do something like respect and leadership. The following month, we might do coding. My son, who's 8, loves to code. And he's teaching me, how to code. And it's, it's an avenue for them to get involved with. Instead of playing the video games, they can learn how the video games are made.
Yes, that'd be phenomenal. I bet they could love that. Yeah. Okay.
So what about, have you thought about maybe having programs geared towards the growing of food as a resource?
Yes, my wife has mentioned that previously, just having different, learning trades.
Yes.
Learning how to grow plants, learning how to grow, different things. So we want to have a wide variety of options, for these kids, so that way they can, learn as much as they can and, have options to do that. Because when you have limited options, that leads to kids doing things that they probably shouldn't do,
Yeah.
which in turn leads them down the wrong path and they end up in the system. And that's something that I want to try to do my best to avoid. Because at a young age, their minds are still young, you're still able to mold them, you're still learning and all that good stuff. And I think if we get in there early, that'll prevent them from being a statistic.
Yeah.
That's something that we have a huge problem with.
Absolutely. Where would your services be based out of?
It'll be based out of Roundrock, which is where I reside. My goal, year 5, I want voices to spread. I want to have a chapter here in Killeen. I want to have a chapter in San Antonio. I want to have a chapter in Dallas. I want this, to grow. I want, voices to be something that's well known, that's respected, and that people can look to for as a resource.
Will it be visiting schools? Will it be out of one central location, one central building?
It will be a compilation of everything.
Okay.
I have meetings set up with school principals
Yeah.
now, in which I will be going to either myself or volunteers that we have on board that want to help out.
Yeah.
We'll be able to go out to the schools and speak on a specific topic.
Yeah.
I was thinking gardens would do really well at school. That would grab a lot of people, get the kids moving with the soil in their hands,
Yes.
teaching them that. And then that would, get in a lot of kids, and then you can talk while you're gardening. I mean,
Having something, whether it's coding or gardening, something to do with your hands, something to focus on when you're
That's
chatting.
positive, yes,
I
yes,
can see that.
awesome.
How would somebody get involved?
Just reaching out to myself directly. I have a Facebook page. I'm still in the process of working on a website, but primarily a website, my email, my phone number. It's just a matter of reaching out to me, let me know what your goal is, what your vision is, and if we're on the same page, I'm all willing to welcome anybody on board. I've held a focus group meeting the end of June. I'm going to do another one this month. And that's just basically to get a feel for everybody. I have, I think it's a 10 question questionnaire in which I get some feedback on them, some background information on them as far as, what they're doing, where they live, what they're passionate about, what their interest is with our youth and what they're willing to contribute to that. And I'll take that information and then I'll have them fill out a volunteer application if they want to take it a step further. So that's how I go about that.
Are you at the state of gathering volunteers to make it ready and available, or are you already in the process of gaining the youth?
I'm a little bit of both.
Okay.
I can't even count the number of volunteers that I have right now. I currently have 2 clients that have already reached out for services. So I'm working with 2 right now. That's going really good. Once I do have clients, I have them fill out a client application form and take forms so that way I have some information on them and get stuff. And I also want to include the parents as well.
Yeah.
Because if these children are coming from a troubled home, it's not going to do them any good if they're coming to voices for assistance and then going back to that same environment.
Yes.
So I have to be able to include the parents on, what we're doing so that way they can understand, and then when the kids leave, the parents can get involved and get the kids back on the right track.
Yeah. What do you think would be important for parents to know about, let's say for those who are listening, for parents to know about the organization?
What's important is it's God-driven. God is the foundation of this organization. And with Him, anything is possible. What we want to accomplish with Voices is to help as many children as we can and keep them out of the system. And like I said earlier, what sets us apart from other organizations is we want to be able to provide a specific program and different needs and options for kids that are other than athletics. I've done a lot of research and a lot of the community resources, which are extremely limited. They're just geared towards, athletic. You got the YMCA, you have things like that. And, they do sports, they do some other activities, but I want to be able to just focus on those specific other activities, whether it's drawing, whether it's learning how to be computer literate, learning how to read, because we have a lot of our youth that don't know how to read. And it's just a matter of being involved with your children, and it starts at home, in my opinion. And if we can get that core on the right path, then these children can get on the right path.
Yeah. So working with the parents.
Definitely.
Working with the parents for the good of the family.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I see a need in Bell County for this type of program. And so it's really refreshing to see somebody saying, hey, there's a problem. These children don't have voices. They are not getting resources. There's no way that anybody can hear them or even wants to hear them because they don't have the money to have the power to be heard. And so to have you say, hey, let's try to help these kids, that's just amazing.
And this is why it's a nonprofit, organization. So when these children or even parents come to us for help, they're not coming out of pocket for anything.
Okay.
So this is the type of service that we want to be able to provide without them having to worry about how am I going to pay for this?
Right.
How are we going to afford this? And that's a lot of the time that could be the issue as to why they're not seeking help, is because they can't afford the help to begin with. So I'm thankful for the volunteers that we do have that are willing to use their time and efforts to help our community get on the right path.
Yeah. When you talked about God being kind of the center and the central catalyst of this project, this nonprofit, tell me that a little bit about the spiritual journey of how God is involved in this process.
Well, I'm an avid churchgoer. I'm a church member of Summit Worship Center in Austin, Texas. I volunteer in the youth department there as well. And I was listening to these motivational CDs one day, and it had 3 topics, and it was discussing whether or not you have a job, a career, or a calling. And as I reflected back over my life, I saw myself as going from job to job. I've never had a career.
Yeah.
And, going through, these different prayers and seeing, stuff on TV, thinking about my boys, I started getting pulled towards, children. And, I started coaching my son's flag football league, which I've been doing for 9 seasons now. And just being around kids, watching them grow, and watching them learn. With me being the coach and me being the leader, I don't only teach them about the game of football, but I also teach them about life, how to be respectful, and how to use their manners. I call them my A-listers, and that stands for athletes who exert leadership, integrity, sportsmanship, teamwork, encouragement, and respect. And each practice, before we start, our drills, we talk about that. We talk about their previous week. We only practice once a week.
Yeah.
So we talk about that, and I have them, they're required to give me an example on how they used integrity the previous week or respect. And I'll just, pick one of my players and tell them, give me an example on how you used respect last week.
Yeah.
They have to tell me. So like I said, I not only want to teach them the game of football, because I love football, but I want them to learn about life. I want them to be respectable young gentlemen and show good sportsmanship on their own football team. I get a lot of parents and a lot of the coaches, walk up to me after the game and shake my hand and tell me what a wonderful job I'm doing with them. And it just moves me even more to continue doing what I'm doing. And they just, always tell me how great the players are, how they're always helpful. If somebody falls down, they're always running to go help them up. We don't showboat. We don't do none of that stuff. I want them to show their skills on the football field, and that's what we do. So in that is what kind of motivated me to, start my own program.
Yeah.
So I was working full time, coaching full time, taking care of both of my boys, so I was working from home. So my schedule was extremely tight.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to start a program, but had no idea how to go about doing it and where I was going to get the time from. And then, just continuously watching the news and seeing this downfall in our community motivated me to go back to school. So I went back to school and got a degree in criminal justice. And in that, I took a couple of juvenile courses and saw the statistics, and I was astounded. I mean, it's just, ridiculous, the amount of number of kids that are in the system.
Yes.
And there's kids in the system at age 6, for theft or for whatever reason. And I said, you know what, I've got to do my part. So, I asked God to guide my steps, to help me figure out how to go about doing this. February of this year, I lost my job. And so I got prideful and everything. I have a family, and, I have a family to support, and didn't know, how ends were going to meet. So I, talked to my wife and told her, and she was like, don't worry about it, we'll be all right. And so I was like, okay, do you know something I don't know? Do you have a separate account that you haven't told me about? Because, the income is going to stop.
Yeah.
So she said, no, this is God's way of telling you that he's going to close this door to open up another door for you to focus on what he's called you to do. And when she told me that just set me right. And I can't thank her enough for those words of encouragement, because it allowed me that following week to go out and file for my DBA. And I started working on my 501c3 paperwork, and I was so excited and so gung-ho about this organization. I went and created a Facebook page and sent it out there. And I, after I did it, and it got up to, I think at the time we were at probably 150 to 200 likes in about a week. And I was like, I was talking to my wife, I said, oh, what happens if somebody contacts me and needs help? And I'm like, I don't have anything right now. I have a Facebook page and a DBA.
Yep.
And so I was just like, we kind of discussing. I'm like, maybe I jumped the gun. Maybe I should have held off before I created the Facebook page. So I went and talked to Rose Smith, who's been helping me along this journey. She said, no, that's what you have a network for.
Yes.
And you being proactive and creating a Facebook page is just getting the word out there. That's letting everybody know what's available and what's coming. And the fact that you have a network and you have my network to back you, all you got to do is make a phone call and we'll get you what you need. And when she told me that, I was blown away. So I was like, I wasn't worried about anything at that point moving forward, because I didn't have to worry about, okay, well, if somebody contacts me and needs whatever service, I want to be able to provide that. And it's funny, 2 days after me and my wife had that conversation, I had an appointment with my pastor of my church.
Yeah.
And, he was telling me how much he loved. I gave him the same, outline. He said, I love the program. I love what you're doing. This is awesome. The name is even more awesome. How are you going to do it?
Yeah.
And it stunned me, because I said, me and my wife just had this very conversation a couple of days prior. So, it's funny that you asked me this. And he said, these are the type of questions that you want to be able to answer when people ask you.
Yeah.
And so in that, he kind of, put me on a path and told me, he said, make sure you're following up, make sure you're learning as much as possible, figure out what your game plan is. How are you going to approach this? How are you going to implement these programs? How are you going to get these programs out there into the public? And so that's when I started, working on, what I wanted to provide, the type of programs I wanted to include, how I wanted to approach it, who I wanted to get involved, all that good stuff. And so 2 weeks after that, I had scheduled a focus group meeting in which I sent out a Facebook post, asking for volunteers, who wants to get involved. Got some feedback, sent out an email with a questionnaire just to try to get some background on those particular individuals, what their passion is, what they love about our youth, what they want to see different in our communities. And then I gathered that information. We had the focus group, and they were asking me questions. I was asking them questions. They were giving me all kinds of different information, who I need to talk to, what they're willing to bring to the table. And it was the most amazing meeting that I had.
And that was all in about a month?
That was in the span of about a month and a half that I've done that.
That's amazing.
So now I'm working on the second focus group meeting, because there are a lot of people that wanted to attend the first one that were unable to make it. So I said, I'll have, more, because the more volunteers we have,
Yeah.
the more successful this program can be.
Mhm.
So I want to be able to have, more focus group meetings to get more feedback, because the more information I have, the more successful we can be as well.
Have you thought of doing a Facebook Live focus group and then having people posting in their responses? That might draw in a lot more responses.
Yes, at my the first focus group meeting, one of the volunteers there had mentioned that.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to implement that in the next
Then you
one.
can answer the questions right then and there on the
Yes.
video. It's pretty.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing. So it's awesome. So how are you going to reach the children from the extreme lower socioeconomic status group? Because they are going to have more difficulty. I mean, they're the ones that need the most help, but then they're probably a little more isolated or in a group of other kids or something like that. So how are you going to reach them and get the word out that these services are available to them?
Thankfully, I have 2 volunteers that are involved in the juvenile system in Austin, and one of them works directly with juveniles
Okay.
that are severely at risk.
Right. That's
So she's on board to help with whatever she can, and she's passed my information off to those, and that's how we're gonna, it's just a matter of networking and going out to the different organizations that they have in the area, whether it's going to the police station, because I'm gonna have an interview or a meeting with the chief of police in Roundrock,
awesome.
Chief Banks.
Mhm.
He's, from what I've been told from my last focus group, he's all about the community and our youth and empowerment and all that good stuff. So I think once I get a chance to meet with him and get the police department on board and try to bridge the gap between police and community, I think that'll help. And just when voices starts to spread, word of mouth, and that's where I think we'll get the bulk of our clientele. But I plan to go to juvenile detention centers to speak. I plan to go to schools to speak, and have other volunteers on board that are willing to go out there and speak as well.
Yeah.
See, I would, I think about things a little bit differently. You guys go from the top down and I go from the bottom up. So I would rent a snow cone machine and go out into a neighborhood and pass out snow cones and talk about it. But that's just, getting the word out to that specific population, because and just talking.
There's a neighborhood next to our subdivision, and they have a lot of issues with the youth there. And she asked me to post on their Facebook page my program and to come out and speak if when they have community events, to have me come out and speak. We've thought about setting up a snow cone stand and as a fundraiser, and then at the same time as we're raising funds for voices, I'll be able to speak to the youth out there. And because one of the neighborhoods we were living in before we moved, it was just, I didn't want my kids out there.
Yeah.
And, just being outside, washing my car, seeing, kids and watching kids, what they do, the way they speak, listening to the parents and the way they speak, it's like, it's no wonder these kids are the way that they are. And I didn't want my children out there to experience that, not at this young of an age. So that's definitely a goal of mine, is to go out into neighborhoods. One of the volunteers I had at the last focus group had mentioned approaching the housing authority, because they have a lot of resources there and different avenues that we can get involved within the subdivisions.
Definitely.
If you had somebody who was interested in contacting you, since you guys are already up and running, how would they get a hold of you?
My Facebook page has all of my contact information on it.
Okay.
What's
the name of the Facebook page?
It's called Voices,
Okay.
but you have to space out the letters between each.
A period or not?
No, not a
Okay.
period, because it won't pull it up. for some reason and I'm still trying to get Facebook to do it the way that I want to. They allow you to put, periods. They said you can't put periods in between each letter unless it's an organization. I'm like, okay, well, it's an organization. That way it's easier for people to find. So when you do search for voices, put V space, O space, I space, so on and so forth, and it should pull up. Otherwise, you can just go to facebook.com/victory0814 and that'll pull up the page as well.
Perfect. Okay, and they can get a hold of you that way, either to volunteer or if they have a child in mind to be a client. Okay.
Amazing.
Sounds good. Is there anything else additional that you want to share?
Spread the word.
Yes.
Spread it. Let people know that this is a community resource that I want to grow, not just for my benefit, but for the benefit of the community and for our youth.
Yeah.
And it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
And the more adults we have involved with this program and on board and on the same path, that have the same vision, we can make this a successful program for the youth.
Okay, that sounds good. Anything else?
Thank you so much
Yes.
for coming and speaking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
That
It's
was-
greatly appreciated.
Yes, definitely.